Well, following the most recent episode of Severance, which is actually the lowest rated episode that's ever been released, I needed to take a breath. Not like that, but in the sense that before I thought about what could happen in the penultimate episode, I wanted to refamiliarize myself with where the other characters were at, as we've not been outside of Mark, Gemma, and Miss Cobel since February the 21st. I know, it's a while, right? However, despite the previous episode getting a fair bit of criticism, I actually thought it was pretty good. It was needed, and it provided a backstory to one of the most interesting and complex characters that we've seen in the show. With only 2 episodes left until the second season draws to a close, I feel like this next one is definitely going to be a big one. So with that, I thought I'd share my theories and predictions on what I think will happen in Severance Season 2 Episode 9. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. What's Harmony Cobel's plan? After the ending of the most recent episode, we had the biggest revelation that the show's given us, and that was that the severance procedure which transformed Lumon and the lives of many was built off of the back of lies and the hard, uncredited work of somebody else, Miss Harmony Cobel. She came up with the designs and the science behind it, but allowed Jamie Egan to take credit for it as he ascended his position as CEO of the company due to Harmony believing that Kier's knowledge was available for all. However, with Harmony not being treated with the respect that she felt as though she deserved, we saw her collect the designs from her mother's old home, and she left with them intact as she was driving back to Lumon and Mark. This is now a transformed Harmony Cobel, and one that has fire in her core with the intention of bringing down the very thing that she helped create. In the closing moments of the episode, we saw that Devon phoned Harmony and wanted her to help due to Mark's reintegration and him finally coming to. And with Harmony asking Mark to tell her everything, I think we're going to see her go to Mark and give him the help that he's after. However, with Harmony pretty much being the brains behind the invention, and us also knowing that there are other features that have yet been explored in the Severance chip, I think she could look to try and enable a different feature on the Severance chip, or at least inform him of them. We've only seen the Glasgow block and the overtime contingency protocol in effect, but judging by what Harmony said when she was yelling at Sissy, it feels like there are more untapped features. So Mark is definitely in the safest hands at the moment. I also feel like Harmony might reveal why it is that Lumon was so interested in Mark and Gemma, and that it likely dates all the way back to when Mark and her gave blood all of those years ago, as that seemed to be the first contact point that Lumon had with both Mark and Gemma together. We're now about to see a Cobel and Scout link up in a way that we never thought we'd see, and although Harmony is doing it for her own gain, Mark is the perfect pawn for her to be able to prevent Lumon from having further success based on the work of somebody else. After all, the synopsis for the next episode is Mark and Devon team with an ally, so that's most certainly on the cards. The fact that Harmony Cobel hasn't actually been in this season that much, only the odd moment here and there other than the previous episode. I wonder if she could end up meeting her demise. Cold Harbor has been described as the greatest achievement the planet has ever seen, and if she's looking to prevent it from happening and looking to cause Lumon's collapse, I feel like the Egans would do anything, and I mean anything, to prevent even more disruption. So could Harmony's story be coming to an end? It might just be. Helly's journey to exports. In the next episode, I think we'll see Helly take up her offer that she threw out there to Mark of going to look for the directions to the exports hallway behind the poster. Whilst this seems like it could be a step in the right direction, I think it's actually going to have the opposite effect and could go one of 2 ways. The first is that Helly will find the exports hallway, and once she gets to the door she won't be able to get in because maybe her card won't have the access that's required to be able to go down to the testing floor. There have been many different access cards that we've seen in the show, and different levels of individuals and different departments hold many different colors. So it could just end up being a dead end for her, which might make her tell Mark that they need a card to get down there, which could then cause them to go on a bit of a quest in the penultimate episode. I would say that Mark could probably just use Harmony's, but I imagine her access has probably been disabled following her no longer working there. Or the other direction that I feel it could go in is Helly will find the directions, make it to the exports hallway, and let's say that her card does give her the access that she needs to get to the testing floor. Then we could see Helly essentially wake up as Helena when she lands on the floor. I say this because Gemma obviously switched from Miss Casey to Gemma when she dropped down the level. This would be bad for Mark and his plan, because if Helena wakes up down there, then she'll know that MDR are close to finding Gemma, which would mean that Cold Harbor, the greatest achievement the planet has ever seen, won't be completed even though it's on the cusp of being done. Plus, Helena would probably be jealous because she's clearly got a thing for Mark, and she'll be heartbroken at the fact that he's closer to being reunited with his wife, something that she probably doesn't want. This would most likely mean that Helena would report the information to Drummond, Milchick, and James, and a watchful eye will be cast over him even more than what it currently is. So it's not going to go as smoothly as Mark might anticipate. Mark's in a conflict over love due to the reintegration. If Mark is fully reintegrated, like it seems like he could well be, I think we might end up seeing a moral complex that's not been explored in the show before. This complex would be centered around one singular Mark having two different people that he cares for. He'll have all of the memories of being with his wife Gemma and the burning desire to save her still, but at the same time he'll have the feelings that Innie Mark has had for Helly and the fact that they shared vessels and cared for each other in ways that the both of them had never truly experienced before. Whilst I don't think this would stop Mark from wanting to find Gemma because that's the core plot in the season and the Innie version of Mark was looking to find Miss Casey anyway. Plus the outies memories would most likely weigh heavier because there'd be many more. I think it will be something that will definitely provide food for thought when it comes to the whole reintegration process and the value of the life of an Innie and the different personalities and memories essentially blending together as one. Dylan's relationship reveal. Whilst on the topic of relationships, I think we could end up seeing the secret that Dylan's been keeping about meeting with Grechen in the family visitation suite finally being revealed to the group. In episode 6 of the show, Dylan actually said, "You don't know everything," when he spoke to Helly and Mark when they asked why he wasn't prepared to go on the search for the export's hallway. And with it seeming like tensions are rising amongst the group and also with Mr. Milchick facing pressure from Drummond and the higher-ups, he might end up revealing it to the others as a way of giving them something else to focus on. Mr. Milchick did briefly mention in front of the group that Dylan could have certain privileges rescinded if he misbehaved, which did get a look from the others in MDR because they didn't have a clue what he was talking about. So we know that Milchick isn't afraid to reveal the information if it comes to it, especially with him now entering a mindset of him wanting to tighten the leash. As well as that, I feel we're also going to be seeing Dylan and Grechen growing even closer. We saw them kiss the last time they were together, and it's as if Grechen is re-falling in love with her husband all over again, as the Innie Dylan appears to be a version of her husband that she's more attracted to due to the emotions, personality, and interests that he holds. This is something that I think could lead Innie Dylan and Grechen to conspire to try and be together all of the time, as Dylan did actually mention that he was disappointed that they couldn't be with each other all the time. I think if Dylan sees that Mark is reintegrated, that will also spark a sense of jealousy within him, as he'll essentially be getting to live a life on the outside whilst himself and the others are in the darkness. So outie Dylan could potentially be in danger due to Grechen and Innie Dylan conspiring to make the Innie the full-time version. I also have a feeling that Innie Dylan could actually end up meeting his children in the family visitation suite too, which would probably give him more of a burning desire to try and find a way out of there and to live a life that he truly wants to lead. As per usual, there are so many different directions that this next episode could go in, but based on the events in the show so far, these are a few things that I feel could be on the horizon and get the main focus. With it now all being about building towards the finale, I feel like we're going to be left on some kind of cliffhanger for sure. So, there you have it, Severance Season 2 Episode 9 Theories Explained. If you want to see more videos on Severance, then click on the card in the top corner, there's a playlist there, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future videos. What do you think will happen next? Share your thoughts in the comments. As always, thanks for tuning into the video and I'll see you in the next one.